If you're aware of Harry Potter or The Hunger Games, or if you've seen the Magic School Bus series, or you've read Goosebumps, or you might be familiar with the Babysitter's Club, then you're very aware of the Scholastic brand. Or, in school, if you had a teacher who participated in the Scholastic book clubs and you took those little flyers home and you circled 20 items on those flyers, and your parents said to you, just one book, like you're very familiar with their brand as well. We also have the Scholastic book fairs where you can buy books at your school, and that benefits your school and also gives you a lovely treat to read as well. So at its very core, Scholastic is a brand that sells stories, and we major in stories. So I thought that I'll be a little creative with my presentation today and give it in a little bit of a format of a story. Now, because it's a story, there we go, I want to look at 3 examples of how Scholastic, the email team at Scholastic, used Movable ink, partnered with a business, gained some small wins and insights, and gained the trust of the business to use it on a larger scale, the tool on a larger scale, using 3 examples: the time targeting app, signals, and APIs, because according to storytelling, there's a rule of 3 where when you tell things in 3s, there leaves a little bit of satisfaction in the end. So that's what I'm hoping to go for right now. So before I get into my story, a little bit of exposition. The email team at Scholastic is a group of 8 people that sits across the entire organization. So we're outside of all of the business units, but we deal with all of the business units' emails. So we have a more holistic view of what's happening when it comes to email marketing across the entire company. That means that we're able to see the wins of one business, and we're able to use that win and apply to another business. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing right there. When we engaged with Movable ink about 4 years ago, we realized the power of the tool. We knew that it was a great and innovative tool. We loved the presentations that we were shown, and we welcomed some of our businesses to the Movable ink offices. We welcomed Movable ink into our offices so they can show us examples of how to use their tools, how they've successfully implemented their tools with other businesses across the United States. So we sat in the meetings with our businesses. Everyone was really excited. We loved the examples that were shown by our amazing accounts team. But the problem was that when the businesses went back to their marketing drawing boards, nothing happened. And when we approached them about the Movable ink tool, we heard a lot of varying answers. A lot of it had to do, well, I just don't know how to apply it to me, or I just don't have the time to do this right now, or I just don't have an idea in my head of how to use the tool successfully. Now, we as an email team saw the power of the tool, and we knew that if we couldn't get our businesses to use the tool, then we really couldn't validate the cost. So we had a task. We had to get a buy-in. So we thought about it, and we thought, why don't we partner with a business and work with that one business to prove the value of the tool? The business that we looked at was a very small business. It's the consumer-facing store of the Scholastic business, a very tiny team. We worked with that team to sort of look at their campaigns and see how we can insert Movable ink pieces into it. And we wanted to prove that value. So we did things like the countdown clock for our last chance emails, which was really fun and dynamic. And during our holiday seasons, we did personalization of a gift tag on our heroes, and that was really fun and dynamic as well. But we wanted to show more. We wanted to show more than just a lift in engagement or a fun, creative email. So we had a little bit of a break when our consumer-facing store wanted to deploy their shipping campaigns. Now, their shipping campaign runs across about a 2-week period before December 24th, and there are certain shipping deadlines that they have to meet. Within that 2-week period, we deploy anywhere between 5 to 7 emails, and alerting users of the shipping deadlines, giving them a unique code for that shipping period. So what happened a lot of times was that the business would send out 7 emails, a customer would receive 7 emails in their inbox, and if they open an older email, they'll see the old image, they'll see the old hero, they'll see the old promo code, and there's a lot of confusion there between the time periods. So we thought, what if we use the Movable ink time targeted tool with this email that we're deploying across 2 weeks, and that will first allow every open that happens to show the most recent promotion, the most recent shipping deadline, and it'll cause a little less confusion. And then we wanted to take it a step further. What if someone opened this email after all of the shipping deadlines have passed? What if we show them a lower coupon for 20% off as opposed to 30% off? What if we add that to our email and we say to the consumer, hey, I'm sorry you missed our shipping deadlines, but here's an extra 20% off of your purchase. We found that at the end of the campaign, this campaign generated an additional 38% in revenue for the store during that period of time, revenue that they would not have gotten without that coupon. Now, taking that small win, we're actually able to apply that coupon, that missed it idea, to multiple campaigns during our 2017 holiday periods across our Thanksgiving emails, our Black Friday emails, friends and family emails, etc. And we actually saw a record-breaking revenue-generating year for the consumer store in the 2017 holiday period, with email leading the digital channels in revenue generation for that year. And a lot of it had to do with the Movable ink work that we did. So while all of this was happening, we were actually also partnering with Movable ink on using their signals, their behavioral application. So we've tagged our consumer site with a behavior tracking pixel, and we talked to our consumer team about their abandoned cart email. Prior to Movable ink, there were no items in the cart. There was just a bland, you have items in your cart, go view your cart, check out now. And we wanted to test first the CTA to see if we can find a more engaging CTA than view your cart, and we also wanted to implement items in the cart because we believe that when a person saw a personalized email with the actual items that they left in the cart, there's a higher chance of them going back to the website and completing the purchase. So in doing that, the first thing that we worked with the Movable ink team was to do a live optimization test of our CTAs. Now, this is a little bit of an aside. We wanted to increase the engagement of the email. We had the view your cart email with the little play button as our standard CTA, but we thought since this is a small audience that we're deploying these campaigns to, let's use the live optimization tool in the learning mode, and let's see what learnings we can get by using 4 CTAs, but also splitting them up into exclamation points versus the play button. And the reason we use exclamation points is there's this idea that we overuse exclamation points, and we were just wondering, what if we use an exclamation point in a CTA and it generates an excited feeling, and that feeling follows the user down there onto the website, onto their cart, purchasing the item? What if that's going to help lift engagement? So because it was a smaller audience, because we're doing it over a long period of time, we were able to sort of get away with that exclamation point in the CTA. And what we found interesting was that when we placed the view your cart, check out now, finish your purchase, go to cart with the exclamation point next to the play button, the exclamation point won all the time. So we immediately dropped all of the play buttons and started working with the exclamation points. So that's just a little bit of a side to get a lift in engagement in email. While all of this was happening, we were working with the Movable ink team to tag our sites with the behavioral tracking pixel, and we worked with them to install the images from the cart into the email. Prior to this, it would have been a situation that involved about 2 to 3 teams working together to coordinate the products from the site into the email. But with the Movable ink tracking pixel, we were able to do it very easily, uncomplicatedly. And because of that, we actually saw a lift in revenue in our abandoned cart email for the consumer-facing store. So we're able to lift engagement, we're able to lift revenue, and we're able to prove ease of use of the tool on the website and in our emails. Now, those are 3 things that we knew that would resonate with our other business units, because we're always hearing about technological issues or things that are not talking to each other. So what we did next was we presented this small win to our teacher-facing store. And we spoke to that business and we said, hey, you have an abandoned cart email. There are no items in the email. You have a CTA that says, complete my order. What if we do a live test and see what works if we can raise the engagement of your already engaged email and also add items in the cart to personalize the email experience? So we were given the green light because we were able to prove this from our consumer-facing store abandoned cart. And we implemented a test for the CTA in the teacher-facing store, where Complete My Order was their original CTA, and we added 3 other CTAs, including the winning ones from our consumer store, which was Go to Cart, and the second runner-up, which was View Your Cart. Interestingly enough, we actually found that the original CTA was the lowest engaged CTA of the lot, so we dropped that immediately, and we actually saw that View Your Cart won with that particular audience. Additionally, adding the items into the cart, we're actually able to boost the year-over-year revenue for that particular stream by 40%. So that was a big deal for this particular business, and because of that little win, we were able to gain their trust, and they were able to see how easy it was to actually implement the Movable Ink tracking pixel, to implement the Movable Ink items into our emails. And this brings us to our next project that we worked with this team on, which is our wish list email. Now, within the past year, we implemented a second stream. It's like a second cart onto our teacher-facing site. We had a cart that you can put items in, your typical abandoned cart email running from that, but we also wanted to add a wish list so that if a teacher is browsing the site, they can add not just to their cart, but also to their wish list. And then we thought, let's take it a step further. In a few weeks after they've added items to their wish list, we want to remind them, hey, you have an item in your wish list, why don't you check out? But we also wanted to take it a step even further and say, hey, not only do you have an item, but one of the items in your wish list is on sale, and that promotion is ending soon. Now, it seemed like a pretty big project, but we thought that perhaps we can use the same idea, use signals like we did with the abandoned cart, and that will all work out magically. It turns out that that was not the case. We're unable to actually implement 2 cart experiences because you can only have 1 cart experience on the site. So it's sort of back to the drawing board. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. Now, picture a room of people. One of them is the business owner. One of them is the email team representatives. Then we have the product team, who are also in charge of the website experience. Then we have the analytics team, who is the team that's pulling the list for us for deployment. And then we have the data team, who's supposed to tie all of these little data points together. And everyone's trying to figure out, how do we populate items into the wish list, because now we can't use Movable Ink anymore. So there's a lot of circles being drawn on whiteboards, and a lot of arrows pointing to databases, and a lot of files being generated. And then someone mentioned product API, an exposed product API. And I said, Movable Ink has an API feature. I wonder if we can use that to populate the items in the email if you just give us the product IDs of the items that are on the user's wish list. So we worked with our Movable Ink team, we worked with our business owner, and we worked with our analytics team. We didn't have to work with our data team or our website team anymore because all of that work was already completed using the Movable Ink pixels. And we opened the API, the product API layer for the site, and we were able to actually, in addition to finding product information like the URL of the product image, we were also able to find sale information. So we knew when an item within that product feed was going on sale, and we were actually able to indicate that in the email. So the final email looked a little like this. We were able to call out the sale item for the user. And this was a big win for us, and everyone was really happy because it took us only a month to complete this over the summer, when with all the teams in the room, it was projected maybe January you might get this done. Within that time of sending the email without products and then sending the email with the products populated, we actually saw an amazing increase in AOV and an amazing increase in revenue just having products in the email and just pointing out the sale items. So working with the teacher-facing store and working with the consumer-facing store, we've now seen a few big wins using the Movable Ink tool. And as recent as last week, we were actually in talks with another business to look at the product API and to see how we can use the product API to implement items into their email abandoned cart stream, because their abandoned cart is just a little different than your usual abandoned cart. So overall, I just kind of in conclusion and wrapping this all up together, one of the ways that we worked with our businesses was we had to find someone who was willing to partner with us and who was willing to take the risks with us. And we had to prove to that partner that the tool works and the tool will help them win. And we're actually in talks with the consumer-facing store about their holiday plans and how we can use Movable Ink and how we can actually make even more dynamic and fun and interactive emails to help boost them this holiday season as well, because we set the bar really high last year, so we really want to overshoot that this year as well. Working with that business and partnering with that business, we're able to show small wins. And using those small wins, we're able to gain their trust that we knew what we were talking about, that this tool actually is valuable. And then we're able to evangelize that out to the rest of the businesses, because now we have a partner, and now we have the proof, and now we've proven the value. So now we can actually tell businesses, like, here's an example from the consumer-facing store, and here's an example from the teacher-facing store, and here are the successes that they have. And here's how it can actually use it for your business, and here's how it can resonate with you and with your offer and with your particular need. And when you use things like engagement, lifts in engagements and lifts in revenue, and best of all, ease in technology, people are always jumping at the table and raising their hands saying, hey, yeah, sure, I'll try that. Why not? So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time and for listening to my story.